Welcome to Whispering Loudly, the award-winning Workshop Whisperer podcast, as featured by Apple, with Rachael Evans, the #1 automotive business coach in the aftermarket, thanks to titanium sponsor MechanicDesk and gold sponsor Podium.
Whispering Loudly is the Workshop Whisperer podcast with the #1 automotive coach in the market for Australia and New Zealand, and thank you so much for tuning into the pod. We've got listeners from all over the world, so that's really exciting for us and also Rach, and it's exciting for everyone because we managed to get people on from everywhere all over the world to share their experience of running an auto repair shop. And today we are joined by Rachael Ayres. Rachael is from MechanicDesk, and he's been at MechanicDesk for many years, helping thousands of auto repair shop owners help their business smoothly transition to the program every day. MechanicDesk is a workshop management system with a number of features in one place, including invoicing, supplier management, service scheduling, marketing, and so much more. At MechanicDesk, Rachael specialises in assisting auto repair businesses, users to recover data from previous platforms, training and support. Thank you so much for joining the pod.
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for having me. I'm happy to be here.
Russ, great to have you on. MechanicDesk and yourself are great friends of the podcast. Now, just for those new listeners that may not be aware of what's happening at MechanicDesk, can you give us a little bit of extra background and what your specific role is?
Yeah. So what I mainly do is I'll reach out to newer clients that want to come on board and help get their data out of previous software that they've been using, trying to convert that data over into MechanicDesk, and essentially helping them make sure they get the most of what they already have in their previous system into MechanicDesk as well. From there, we will assist them with training. So go through demos with them, making sure that they are able to do the things that they already can do and a lot more. So ensuring they get the most out of MechanicDesk. And from there, helping them set up with their mobile phones as well, setting them up with the app so they can do their time clocking, ensuring that they are recording all their reports correctly, and setting up their integrations with any accounting programs or supplier systems that they already use.
Brilliant. So, Russ, the last time we had you on the podcast, COVID wasn't even a word yet that we'd heard about. It certainly wasn't a topic of conversation. For our new listeners that may not have gone back far enough yet in the Whispering Loudly podcast library, can you give us a rundown like you did in that first episode that we did together on what MechanicDesk can make possible for our auto repair shop owners?
Yeah, of course. So on the front end, MechanicDesk is your workshop management software. So you'll be managing things like your bookings, your jobs, formulating check sheets and templates for those check sheets so you don't have to do it all the time. From there, you have your time clocking features as well, so you can clock time for you guys that are working on all your jobs, making sure they're more efficient and their time is logged so you know what they're doing. And then you have the invoicing side as well, so formulating that for your customer, adding in all your parts, recording all your labor, making sure that you're bringing in all your parts from your suppliers as well through purchase orders and your billing, and then having those integrate with the supplier systems as well, so you can easily just jump onto let's say Repco and pull your parts across. Now, aside from that, we do have your service scheduling, so you can, when you're finishing all your jobs, you enter in your next service dates or populate them automatically, and then they can go into your service schedules where you can send out all your reminders, ensuring that you are keeping up those reminders going so you get that return business as well. And then we have a plenty of integrations with things like Xero, MYOB, and QuickBooks for your accounting purposes with reconciling. And then we have integrations with, I believe, about 7 of the suppliers within Australia to help with parts purchasing and formulating check sheets from their pre-populated data as well. And then things with marketing as well, integrating with things like ActiveCampaign or MailChimp to do those mass email blasts that you might want to do. And same with SMS text messaging as well. So there's quite a lot that we have available with some of the settings as well on the back end. You can manipulate how the system actually works too. So you can have pricing structures and things like that. So there's a lot.
There is, and it's obviously way more than we can go into in one of our podcast episodes. We as a business, the Workshop Whisperer, we work with many, many businesses who are using MechanicDesk. And one of the things that we love to be able to do is always give them insightful information on, they might be modifications that you've done or new changes that you've actually implemented in the software. And there might be things that the software's capable of now that they aren't aware of because they didn't read their emails or the training that you sent out. So would there be 5 things maybe that you'd like to share with our listeners as to, things that MechanicDesk can do that they might not know about?
Yeah, of course. So I'll start off with the biggest one first, which is a new app we have called the Service Book. What that is it is an app for the actual customer of the workshop. So what you'll be able to do is through the MechanicDesk account, you'll be able to invite customers to download this app, and it will basically connect your MechanicDesk with the customer, allowing all communication to go out via push notification instead of SMS, so saving money there through SMSs. And depending on what information you'd like to share with your customer, they'll be able to access things like updates from current jobs that they have in the system or the check sheet from the job. And depends on what you want them to see. You can turn off certain data if you want to hide some things or show different things to the customer. They'll also be able to book online through the app itself, with also taking pictures and send them directly into your MechanicDesk account. So all of the data is already there and you can see the problems. One other thing that we'll be able to do is just access information about the workshop, their opening times, list their phone number, their website, if they need to access that kind of data just with the click of a button. And one of the last current features that we have is they'll be able to see the quotes that come from the workshop as well and approve them and get them converted into jobs. And that's just a baseline of what the app is, and it will be expanded upon as we go into the...
And I know from experience as well with our clients and their feedback is that when they come across something that they think would be a great to have, or, can we just make this little tweak? It's just usually an email or a phone call with you guys, and you're really on the front foot taking that on board to see what you can do in those areas.
Yeah, definitely. Well, it's all about making things easier. That's the whole idea. If we can make things easy for everybody, why wouldn't we do it?
Absolutely. And was there one more there that you had, Russ?
Well, we do have an expansion on the automation system that we implemented a little while ago. So this is more looking at following up on finished jobs. So if you want to automate like follow-ups to go out to customers to see how's the job gone? Is the vehicle okay? Things like that. Following up on like expired quotes, unpaid invoices, just as an automatic recurring email or message sending out to the customer, just to make that process a little bit more automated and so you don't have to do it yourself.
Take a smoke out and review us on your Apple Podcast app or wherever you listen.
Let's have a look now at, the current trading environment with all of our markets now in Australia out of lockdown and New Zealand mostly as well. What do you think are the positives moving forward for business as a result of, what we've all gone through in the last 2 years? And what are some of the lessons that you and MechanicDesk have learned from this experience?
Over that 2-year period during the lockdowns, we did notice quite a large uptake in people getting new software, transitioning over from older software that didn't have capabilities like mass emailing or mass communications. And that's kind of when we really knuckled down on the importance of capturing all that customer data, ensuring you have those phone numbers, you have those emails, and being able to communicate to the customer to say, hey, we're still here. These are our hours. Pop us a call, give us an email, and we'll still be able to do things. So really the importance of collecting that data is something that's really come up over those 2 years, and especially now that everybody's open again. If the customer doesn't know you're open, they might not come. That's really it.
Yeah, definitely. And it really sits in our hand. It's something so simple we can control. It's not us waiting for somebody else to help us in this regard. These are things that we can do ourselves to make sure that we're putting our best foot forward.
Yeah, it's quite important. And we definitely have seen a large uptake in people doing their mass email campaigns or messaging everybody via SMS to say, hey, we're still here.
Definitely. So, Russ, just finally, for all of our independent shop owners out there, what would be the number one piece of advice you have for businesses stepping back into normal trading now that we hope we're past the peak of the pandemic?
Have a disaster plan. Ensure that, even if it's we lose internet, what are we going to do? Do you have your little 4G Telstra dongles available to just put them on and have internet to be able to access systems and suppliers? Or what happens if we ever go back into lockdown again? What's the plan? Are we going to change things up? And over the period, we found a lot of workshops coming up with really unique ideas on how they can still stay open and still run business as usual by doing 24-hour days, night shifts, day shifts, splitting everybody up so they can stay within the social distancing parameters and things like that. But yeah, disaster plan, just even small things, pretty great thing to have, ensuring that they can stay in business. I
100% agree with that. Disaster plan, exit plan, and planning in general, I think have all been highlighted by this pandemic. So really, really, really insightful. And I think, Russ, the disaster planning has to be looked at right across the board with, like you said, do you have an alternate internet source? If we're using cloud-based software and we can't access the net, well, what are we doing there? And, if half of our team's wiped out and has to go into isolation, what are we going to do then? So really looking at all worst-case scenarios and putting a plan in place. So thank you for sharing that. And thank you for making a return visit to Whispering Loudly. Always love to chat with you and love learning those 5 new things that we might not know MechanicDesk could do. Looking forward to the next time we find out 5 more.
Sounds good to me. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for listening to Whispering Loudly, the award-winning Workshop Whisperer podcast, as featured by Apple with Rachael Evans, the #1 automotive business coach in the aftermarket. Thanks to titanium sponsor MechanicDesk and gold sponsor Podium.